I was such a fraud.
Hello, gorgeous people. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. There's just a few things I want to talk about here, and let's see if you agree with this. Okay, thank you I appreciate the super thanks, the donations to the channel. Thank you very much, and let's see what you think of this little video. Thank you for watching it.
You've repeatedly stated that Harry and Meghan did not cooperate or interview for the book in any way. So what then makes this different from any other tell-all book about the royals? And why should anyone believe the claims in this biography?
I think what makes this book different is that the sourcing really was born out of a very unique situation.
The Duchess of Sussex has apologised for misleading a court about information given by her aides to the authors of a biography.
Previously, the Sussexes have said that a spokesperson said the couple did not share any information, did not contribute to a biography called Finding Freedom. However, yesterday in court, a witness, a senior aide to the Duchess, said that actually there were a number of meetings, both in person and over email, about that publication, that the Duchess of Sussex had shared information, had shared points to be shared with the authors. So there's a contrast in those two.
False, but there was a lot of typical exaggeration and rehashing. He's bouncing between the walls, he's taking drugs, he's drinking, he's out late.
There's a fair amount of drugs, marijuana, magic mushrooms, cocaine. I mean, that's going to surprise people.
But important to acknowledge.
I'm an American living in the UK, and it is a little bit confusing to me, but you can basically go wherever your doctor is. And Meghan said that that was the reason why she had to be at the Portland hospital and not the traditional hospital that Kate gave birth at. Now, that part doesn't bug me. I'm actually okay with that. But what I am a little bit confused about is that when I went to the Portland hospital, and I was only admitted as an outpatient, so I was there for a few hours, put to sleep, had a procedure done, and got to go home that night, but I never saw an emergency room. I never saw a trauma center. I never saw anything, or however you call it over here in the UK. I never saw an ER. And I'm pretty positive that that's because the Portland hospital doesn't have an ER. Now, I don't know for sure. I'm not positive. I don't know the ins and outs of hospitals or things like that. But I'm pretty positive that the Portland hospital doesn't have an ER at all. Which makes me think, why did she lie and say that the reason why they couldn't do the photo call was because there was an emergency room? It would have caused...
All the Sussex squads and all the people following and blindly choosing to believe Harry and Meghan in spite of the lies that they themselves say. It's unbelievable, okay? Harry said in the mockumentary on Netflix that all the stories about his drug taking and everything else were insane, were not true. And then we have him on the book saying that it was. They were even worse. Not only were they not true, they were worse than reported. So which one is it? Which one is it? Omid Scobie saying, they were not sources, nothing. No. Meghan and Harry had nothing to do with this. And then we have Meghan Markle apologizing for committing perjury to the court. She's lucky she wasn't charged. So which one is it? Maybe Meghan Markle had baby brain and she didn't remember that? You know what I mean? Is she the one with baby brain because of the hormones, and this is why she didn't remember slandering her own sister, sending information, false information about Samantha Markle to Omid Scobie and Carolyn Durand? I mean, to dedicate a whole chapter to basically denigrating, slandering, and defaming your own sister. That says a lot about you. And let me tell you something. This book, Scare, because he's not spare. He's no longer the spare. The minute Prince George was born, he was done. So, scare is the word, because that book screams scare. That's it. We have this idiot speaking in the same way, if from what the excerpts we've read, and I'm not buying that book, from the excerpts that have been published, it's the same minutia. You would think that this book was written by Carolyn Durand and Omid Scobie or Meghan Markle, not somebody of the caliber who wrote the Agassi book. because the minutia, the details, the mindless details in that, I mean, it's pompous to call it a book, but the minutia, the detailing, the D-list aspect of it all. I mean, The Guardian is being kind, calling it B-list. It's actually worse than D-list, and most of them are lies, more lies. So in this book, Harry says that he was hard on drugs. How on earth was he ever able to be an officer in the military, UK military? That speaks very poorly of the military, of the United Kingdom's military, that they allowed a man, they falsified the test results in order to allow him to get into the military, to be an officer to begin with. Number two, that clearly this guy was taking drugs all the way through. What happened to the drug test results? Because that had this man been tested, and this man was in the military, not only was he endangering his soldiers, his fellow soldiers, because he was not a real soldier, but how can the military have allowed this man to go to a war zone? And I mean, it's incredible, because through sheer stupidity and clearly lack of intelligence, he was on the field when he had no business being there. And, many people have come out and say, oh, it's out of context. He's saying that he had to think of them as chess player, board, chess pieces on a board in order to kill. The general, the retired colonel has come out and said he was never a foot soldier. He was never a foot soldier. And even when you're a foot soldier, you're not like going, bam, one, bam, two. And even if you had killed that many people, you don't put that in the book. You say it was tough being in the military and having to kill enemy combatants. It was a tough moment for me, blah, blah, blah. No. At 25, I had to think of them as a chessboard in order to kill them. I mean, I don't know what to say. And the book, this book, even the documentary or the mockumentary, you know how wonderful it could have been had he focused on his mother's charity, how she took him to see the homeless shelters, secretly, in order to teach them that they were very fortunate and blah, blah, blah. That would have been wonderful had he concentrated on that, on the Queen, what he learned from the Queen, like amazing details like that. What the Queen taught, his moments with the Queen, with Prince Philip, how privileged his life was growing up. That would have been so much better, and to show gratitude about the privileged life that he led. Instead, he's lying, slandering, and bitching about everybody else. Lying about everybody else. And people are going on, and this is really driving me mad, because people are going on, oh, this poor man is ill. He has never been mentally ill. He's an entitled, arrogant, vindictive, petty prick. It shows you that being born into a royal family doesn't mean that you are regal, royal, or loyal. He's an accident of birth, being born in that family. And in a way, Prince Charles, and I know many of you are going to hate me for this, but Prince Charles can throw any stones at Harry, because Harry is doing what he did with Camilla. Camilla is non-negotiable. Nobody talks shit about Camilla. He prefer hanging around with Camilla than hanging around with his own children. We all know that. So Harry is following his father's example. That he's taking it beyond that and being a traitor and putting everybody else at risk, that's a whole nother matter. But he has an example through King Charles. Country, laws, everything be damned, because he needed to be with Camilla. So it's fine. But he can't point a finger at Harry, because Harry's doing exactly the same thing he did. It's just that Harry's in a lower position to make demands. That's it. But Harry, it's a petty prick. That's what he is. And he met a petty biatch who has a chip on her shoulder, because Meghan's biggest chip on her shoulder is that she's not 100% white. And all the black community, you are all going to come at me, no, how dare you, she's being very proud of being biracial. Really? Is this why her life has been white? And when I say white, we all know what I'm talking about. Meghan didn't hang out around in the hood. She went to Canada, one of the most diverse cities in the world. Who did she befriend? The whitest, most privileged people on earth, in Canada. Who did she marry into? The whitest, most privileged family in the world. Even her previous husband, Trevor, one of the three, I think, because apparently she was married the first time and it was annulled. But let's say that Trevor was the first marriage. Even Trevor, white privilege. No black family members at her wedding. Why didn't she interview, and I ask you this, why didn't she interview any of her black family relatives other than Doria in her mockumentary? Where are all her other black relatives? Her uncle, her black uncle who died. She didn't even send flowers. She didn't, and he was around. There are pictures of them around. So, yeah, Harry met his match. You know, that he's singing to the seals. That he, can you imagine Meghan Markle putting her hands on Princess Diana's grave? I am sure that had Princess Diana been able to voice her opinion, she would have told her, get your fucking hands off me and get off my fucking island and never come back here. That's another form of abuse. This is insanity. I mean, and this man, there are rumors saying that he's been written out of the coronation. The point that he was written in at all to begin with, it's quite concerning. What is King Charles waiting to say that Harry, from now on, will be known as Henry Mountbatten Windsor, that he will no longer be a prince of the realm, and that nor a duke, nor anything, that he grants his wish of being a private, normal citizen without the burdens of any royal titles. He will still be his son. And this is why I don't understand why people get so mad when I say that. He will still be his son. He just won't have any titles. That doesn't mean he's not his son. It means he won't have those titles from that institution that in one interview he says he hates. He has experts saying that they're colonization 2.0. And in another interview, yes, I believe in the monarchy. He tells Anderson Cooper, will you ever go back to the monarchy? No. And then he tells Tom Bradby, will you ever go back as a working royal? Time will tell. I did drugs. No, the newspapers were exaggerating, tabloid. Now, burying a baby, even if it's, a fetus that, that was lost, they don't give it to you at the hospital. That is illegal. I see those things doing the rounds. I'm surprised that people still think that Harry was allowed to take a dead baby or fetus or whatever it was that he took and bury it that he dug a hole. Like that fetus did not, or baby did not deserve any respect because he dug a hole and buried under a tree. Even my dogs, they get a little coffin, when they die. And, it's something more. But no, I'm going to go under a tree. I'm going to, scrape the ground with my hands and I'm going to throw it in there. Illegal. And this insanity is allowed to stand. I don't care about any of that. My issue here is that, as I have been saying for many, since I started this channel, that is the problem here is not all the lies that Harry and Meghan Markle tell and the defamation that they tell or the personal attacks to their family members. I don't have a problem with that because if they don't want to defend themselves, I get that. But when Harry and Meghan Markle defamed the institution, the monarchy, and the Commonwealth, creating tensions, dissent, and now endangering the lives of the working royals, That is felony treason. Harry has committed felony treason. And people are still dicking around about the coronation. I mean, what the fuck's going on here? This man has committed felony treason, has created dissent, is trying to interfere with the good governance of the United Kingdom, has incited enemy hatred towards the heir and the United Kingdom and its soldiers, and the working royals and the heir. What is Parliament waiting for? Does that mean that, for example, Jeffrey Dahmer, when he killed people, oh, because he's somebody's son, we're not going to do anything to him because somebody's son? It's not going to take away from the fact that he's the Charles' son. He can do that. He still be his son. But he needs to be held accountable for the fact that he has committed felony treason. He has said so many allegations that create tensions and dissent among the Commonwealth and the reputation of the United Kingdom. And even for any citizen of the United Kingdom who goes abroad will be thought of as this bigot racist that Harry and Meghan have portrayed the entire United Kingdom to be. Please let me know what you think.